Real estate investing has been a tried and true way of building wealth for generations, and it's one of the oldest businesses in existence. And there are many benefits to owning real estate, such as owning an asset that appreciates over time, or getting passive income from the rents that you get from your tenants, so you can continue making money even as you sleep. But with today's high interest rates and ever-growing home prices, you may be wondering, how can I get into real estate in today's market, and what should I do if I want to get started? If this is one of your first time watching my videos, my name is Sean, and I've been investing in real estate for over 8 years. And during my time, I've flipped houses, worked as a hard money lender, and now own a sizable rental portfolio that gives me and my wife enough passive income to leave our full-time jobs and travel the world. But things are different now than when I started. Everything seems to be more competitive, and higher interest rates mean that mortgages are more expensive, which makes your deals less profitable, which makes it harder to generate cash flow than ever before. So in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys the 5 exact steps that I would take if I had to start from scratch and start investing again in 2024. First thing that I would do is to build my base, and that means working on my savings and working on my credit score. Now, if you're just starting your journey towards financial freedom, you probably don't have much in savings and you probably don't have a good credit score. And that's okay, everyone starts somewhere. But to be honest, if you want to start investing in real estate, you probably need at least $25,000 to cover the down payment and closing costs and any small repairs that might happen when you buy your first property. And for your first deal, you probably aren't going to buy a complete fixer-upper because it will be extremely overwhelming and there's going to be a lot of unknown issues that come up. So for your first deal, focus on buying a regular single-family home and expect to put 20% down and rent in a normal neighborhood. This way, you can get the experience of buying the home and experiencing some quick wins once you start renting it out. But if you don't have $20,000 yet, or if that's everything you have, then I actually recommend holding back on buying your first property because you don't want to put everything you own into just one deal and have something happen. Because if something goes wrong, then you're going to be put in a very tight situation. As an example, let's say you bought a home and you put everything you saved up in this one deal. At first, everything is great, a tenant moves in, and it rents for a few months. But then suddenly, your tenant loses their job, then your tenant to move out, and now your property is vacant. So this means that you're covering all the holding costs on that property, including the mortgage payment, taxes, and the insurance, out of your own pocket. And let's say your property manager walks through the home and says that there's actually a leak in the roof, and it costs several $1,000s to repair it. If you don't have the money to cover these issues, you may be forced to sell this property at a discount just to get rid of it. So while you're building your base, continue working hard at your full-time job, but be more intentional about saving and investing it so that net worth can grow. And this is exactly what I did when I was first building my base. I was working hard at my job, I saved and invested a good portion of my money into the stock market. And I didn't do anything really crazy. Most of my money was invested in index funds that simply track the S&P 500 market. So by the time I was ready to buy my first property, I had enough for the down payment, closing costs, and enough cushion room in case something happened. Now, another thing about building your base that's really important is building your credit score, because having a high credit score will affect your interest rate, and having a lower interest rate on your mortgage will mean that you're paying less every single month and can have more cash flow. So you want to make it a focus to get your credit score in the high 700s before you buy your first property. So if you know that you're a few years out from buying your first deal, then start working on your credit score today. Find ways to lower your utilization ratio, make sure you continue paying your cards on time, and do all things to make sure your credit score is good to go for when you buy your first property. So step number 1 is to build your base. Increase your savings, increase your credit score so that you're going to be prepared when you find your first opportunity. And the second step that I would do is to increase my knowledge. Understand that right now is actually the best time to learn about real estate investing. Because if you can learn how to do deals in this crazy environment, then you're going to be a master when things normalize. And I highly recommend that you do not go out and buy a property until you're comfortable and understand how real estate investing works. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to spend the next 10 years reading every single book and listening to every single podcast before buying your first deal. It just means that you can't go out and buy the first thing you see on Zillow just because you think it's cheap. You need to understand how to analyze a deal to make sure that the thing you're buying is going to be cash flow positive and is in a market with high appreciation potential. I learned how to invest was by reading a lot of books and listening to a lot of podcasts. But nowadays, it's easier than ever to learn because there's a wealth of information on websites like YouTube and even on my channel. But one of the big challenges about learning things on YouTube is that the information is scattered. So you're only getting bits and pieces of the whole story with every 10-minute video. So to help you guys out, we actually host a free masterclass where we teach you the basics about buying a rental property. If you're interested, you can register for it, the link down in the description. So if you spend time now to understand and acquire knowledge about how to buy rental properties, then you'll be well set for the future. You'll also be less likely to fall for scams or bad deals when they get presented to you. The next thing I would do if I was starting from scratch is join a real estate investing community. Meetups are really important because there's only so much you can learn from a book or a podcast. But there's all these things in between that just aren't said. By physically connecting with other investors, you'll be getting these pseudo mentors who can help answer any of these miscellaneous questions that you might have. For example, You can ask them questions that you won't find the answers to in books and podcasts because maybe they fall on a gray zone and the author doesn't want to just tell people how to do their business. But if you ask a friend, they might just tell you how to do it. Now, one thing to know about meetups is that there are different types of meetup groups. You might find ones that are casual, where you just connect with other investors at a bar, and others that are more educational, where you pay a small setting fee, you hear a presentation from an investor for an hour or two, and then you meet up afterwards. The educational meetups typically cost between $10 and $20 to sit, whereas the more casual ones are typically free as long as you pay for a drink or meal at the venue. Both these types are great. I recommend joining as many as you can in the area, and a great place to find those is through meetup.com. Now, there are also meetups online, but I think you're gonna get the most bang for your buck by meeting people in person. Now, that being said, one meetup group that you need to be aware of and try to avoid are the meetup groups that are actually feeders into a $10,000 mentorship program. At this stage, if you're just beginning, you probably do not need a course that costs $10,000, $20,000 just to start investing. If you're at a phase where you think that this particular knowledge can help get you to the next level, then sure, go for it. But if you're going to a meetup where there's only 6 or 7 people and the whole time they're presenting about this program and just trying to get you to pay for a $10,000 program, don't do it. It's not worth it, just run. The chance of you making a lot of money from these programs from the get-go is very, very rare. And most people who join those programs aren't gonna get their money's worth. So just be aware that these programs exist and focus on the ones that are more casual or the ones that are definitely more educational and go to those groups. Now, as you're building your base, increasing your knowledge, joining communities, the next thing you wanna do is find your target market. You need to know where you're gonna invest. I mean, after all, real estate is all about location, 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 and buying in the right areas is going to be a big determining factor if your deals are going to be profitable or not. So when I was first starting my real estate investing journey, I had no idea where I was going to invest. So I just went to all the different meetup groups and saw where their top 10 favorite cities were. And the city that I ended up choosing was Jacksonville, Florida, because even though it was never number one on any of the top 10 lists, it was consistently in all the different top 10 lists. And over time, I ended up buying 6 units there and ended up doing great. But one of the downsides of buying where everyone else is buying is that there's heavy competition. And that means getting outbid by people who come in with a crazy amount of cash and being unable to find any more new good deals on the market. So that's when I started doing my own research to find new markets that no one else was talking about. And by doing it this way, we're not able to find deals without heavy competition. I mean, heck, we're even able to find deals on the MLS. So by finding these type of markets, you're finding places that have the highest chance of appreciation potential, job growth potential, rent increases. And because not a lot of people are buying there, it gives you the opportunity to continue buying in these markets if you want to. Now, if you guys need help finding your target markets, then check out this video where I teach you guys how to find the best cities to invest in the US. Now, the 5th step to investing from scratch in 2024 is to build your team. You may or may not realize this, but real estate investing is a team sport, especially if you're buying out of state. You need a boots on the ground team to help you if you physically can't be there. Plus, by investing this way, you can actually live a life and receive true passive income while your team does most of the work for you. The people you need to find are an agent, a property manager, and a lender. A good agent is going to be able to continuously give you deals, whereas a good property manager can advise you and tell you if this property is in a good location or not. And finally, having a lender on your team will let you know how much you can buy, what your rates are going to be, and from there, you can calculate if a deal is good or not. Now, it may seem overwhelming to find these people, but in reality, one good team member can usually lead to the next good team member. In my case, I found my agent, and my agent referred me to a good property manager. And by going to a bunch of meetup groups, I was able to find a nationwide lender. Now, if you're trying to buy your first property, but you don't know anyone who could help, then I highly recommend checking out Home and Money. Home and Money is a free service that connects you to a local real estate agent who can help you buy your ideal property, whether you're buying your own personal residence or you're buying your first rental. They're experts in their markets and can find the right deal for you. So you can check them out with a link down in the description as well. So you follow these 5 steps. Build your base, increase your knowledge, join a group, find the right market, and assemble a team. You'll be in a very good spot to start investing in real estate in 2024. And don't wait to start implementing these steps. If you can master how to start investing in real estate today, then you'll be that much closer to achieving your dreams and living a life that's true to yourself. If you guys have any other questions about investing in real estate from scratch, then feel free to drop a comment down below. And if you're serious about learning how to invest in real estate, you definitely need to know if a deal is good or not. And to help you out, I made this video where I teach you how to invest a real estate deal for beginners. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Take care.